Hello, hello actors. Welcome to the Marishka Method. I am your new acting coach, Marishka S. Phillips, here to serve. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Orville, my man over here, putting me on camera at Villo Productions here in Queens. Thank you so much for having me here at your studio. So thank you. I don't know how many of you were able to review the first lesson when I asked a few questions. I asked about your contract. I didn't get any feedback on that, but I'm still curious to know if you leave what your contract is in the comment section, I can make sure that it's not a result of acting, but it's really a part of how you want to express yourself. It's about the legacy of work you're going to leave behind, even after you're. But it's a kind of a purge. You just write whatever comes to your spirit. I like to put on some music and see where the pen and the music leads me. And like my favorite affirmations from here is my dreams come from God and God has the power to accomplish them. That's my favorite one. Another one I like is I'm a channel for God's creativity and my work comes to good. And then I added /God because He's the creator. He's the creator, right? And I believe that He co-creates through us. We just have to be open. And when you get an idea, that's a little gift. It's up to you whether you follow through or not, right? Another one I love is as I create and listen, I am led. Sometimes the hardest thing for us to do is turn everything off and just sit there and breathe. And maybe before you even start that process, you ask a question. There may be something you need to know, something you need to make a decision about. It's okay to shut off, put your phone on mute, put it on airplane mode, and just sit. That's okay. There's a divine plan of greatness for me and my work. I started doing this when I was living in LA. Now, I lived in LA from 1991 to 97. When I was working on A Different World, and I did a couple of other projects there, some theater and a tour, because I sing also, so I did a tour with a Latin star, Christian Castro. I don't know, some of you may know him, but he was a big deal back in the day. So I started doing these way before I even thought about teaching. I just felt that it was a way to open myself up. I did go to school for directing out there, and that's another reason I found this book, The Artist's Way. It says a spiritual path to higher creativity. I'm all about that, all about that. So get into this book, start your morning pages. I promise you that it'll open you up. When I was, I've written some scripts. I got a couple of screenplays, and I wrote a sitcom, and it was just all unlocking and unblocking paths to creativity with this book, and there are exercises at the end of each week. So please get into it. Something happened before the screening, and I have another saying. It says, I am destined for greatness. And I love that affirmation as well. And I was on the phone with someone, and something they said placed a seed of doubt in me, and I was like, and then I got really nervous about what this film was going to look like, and I just had to shut down again and start writing, and that was what I started writing. I'm destined for greatness. And then I was like, I am great. I am great. I am great. Forget that. I am great. And that just renewed me. It was like, shoo. The power of words are a big deal. So be careful what you speak over yourself. Be careful what you say, because once it's out your mouth, it does not roll back in, They say eat your words, but it's out there. So just be careful of those words. So I just wanted to share that with you from The Artist's Way. Do that this week. Start your morning pages. I promise you. 3 pages a day, It doesn't have to be like big pages. You could do it in your journal as well. Okay. Now, let's talk about that character bio. How did you guys do? I want to hear how you guys did with this, because like I said, it's the foundation on which the actor stands in becoming this character. I want to get into the need of the character. Now, when I ask you to write about the character's parents, it's because the need is developed, your need, and, I mean, talking about life imitating art, but, and art imitating life, the need of the character and your need develops when you're about 5. 5 is when you become aware of the do's and the don'ts. 4 and under, everything's just cute. Oh, so cute, so cute. But, or, you know, depending on where you come from. But when you're 5, you start becoming aware of the world and the life that, your environment. And the need is always developed from one of your parental figures, whether it, you know, developed from your mom or lack of what you didn't get from your mom, or it's developed from the dad and what you didn't get from the dad, your need. And the need is really basic. And when you're discovering the need and you're going and you're combing through your character bio and you're dealing with your parents, like what your mom did and how, you know, the relationship with you and your mom and dad, or lack thereof, and their relationship, you want to think of what was lacking in the character's life when you're looking for it. So the need is really basic, and you want to think, you don't want to get too cerebral. It's like, think of the your inner 5-year-old self. So it's the basic needs, such as the need to be taken care of, the need for security, the need to be heard, the need to feel special, the need to be respected, the need to be acknowledged, you know, the need to be loved, the need to be protected, things like that. Those are really basic needs. I mean, there are so many needs, and what's important about discovering the character's need is that the need is the heartbeat of the character, and the need is the universal language for the actor. And I can tell you and attest to the fact that even if you see a show or a play and you can't understand the language, if the character's need is operating and they're letting it, if it's exposed, you will relate to that character whether you understand what they're actually saying or not. Trust me on that. So you don't want to neglect or negate making sure that you've taken care of your needs. Isn't that just like life? For real? So think about, again, really get clear. This is about finding the need. You really want to say, what didn't mom, and you know, as I was taught, the first rule of thumb is know thyself. And you may want to get into your need too, like when you wake up, what is your waking need? You know, and it's real. You got to think 5. At 5-year-old, like I said, you got to go back and think, what didn't I get from mom that I'm still longing, which even informs relationships and how I show up, or what didn't I get from dad that you're still longing for and always seeking and going about and leading your life, not leading your life, but informing. That's a better word, informing your life. That need is ever present every day. You just have to identify it, recognize it, and get clear. Awareness is like 90% of anything. That's why I ask my actors in class, what are you aware of? I'm aware, I'm aware. And it keeps you right in the moment as an actor, as a storyteller, as a person. I think a great assignment for you guys is as you go along, you know, even if you're walking to work, look, just be aware of maybe the design of the buildings, or maybe be aware of ads, or you know just information. These awarenesses should inform you in ways of a sensation. You know, if you really take things in, you'll get a sensation. You may not be able to identify it on the spot because that's a muscle that has to be built. Like, you know, you don't go to the gym for a day to gain muscles and walk out, you know, buffed. It takes training, and this is just a start to start getting that awareness muscle working and letting the information come in and be aware of where it lands, because we compartmentalize stuff and lock things away, so just so we can, you know, operate on a daily basis. You don't want to walk around with your need hanging out, right? I know I don't. So just be aware of what is lacking from 5-year-old and give that, you know, then find the character's need from that aspect. So what do you do with that? How do you activate the need? It's a very interesting process through an emotional sense memory. An emotional sense memory is a time in your life, an event in your life. You want to find an event in your life when that need was unfulfilled. Just to say, what if you discover that the character's need, or decide that the character's need is a need for attention, need to be acknowledged. You want to go to a time in your life when you were ignored, rejected, or turned away. You want to think about that event in your life. Don't overthink it. Just go with an instinctual hit. Something will come to you. You don't have to rack your brain. If you breathe, it'll come. Trust me. Everything is right there, although, like I said, we lock it away so that we can function. But I'm sure everyone's had a time of rejection, or a time when you were ignored, when you had something really important to say. So think about that time, and you want to ask, you know, I always ask a series of questions, such as, how long ago was this event? What time of year was it? Where were you? Who was with you? You know, or the most significant person associated with that event? What did they say and do in this event, and how did that make you feel? All of these questions unlock the sensation. And then you want to speak out the need over and over until it's kind of like a emotional breakthrough. Just the fact that you say, I need your attention, I need your attention, I need your attention. The fact that you say it over and over again, that breaks open the sensation, and you're able to identify where it lies in your instrument. And when you identify it where it lies, it could be in your throat, could be your heart, it could be in the pit of your stomach. You want to breathe into it, and that's the sensation you want to give voice to as the character. So that's how we find the need. That's how we discover the need. That's how we unlock the need. That's how we get the need operating. Ask yourself these questions. Be really super duper clear. Again, it's about clarity and specificity. If you have any questions about what that is, again, leave your comments, ask, because when I answer questions, everyone can read it. So it's a lesson for everyone. Again, you know, you can inbox me, but I'd love for it to be an open forum. Again, let me know where you're watching from. That's really important. Maybe, you know, if you have someone nearby, y'all can start doing scenes together and, you know, watching together. Wouldn't that be nice? And eventually, if you get enough of you, I could come to your city and teach right there with you. How about that? That's one of the things I would really like to accomplish by doing this. Start a community of actors in cities, and then I'll be able to go there, and I could be right in the room with you, and we can have a class so that your fellow actors, wherever they are, they can watch. That would be super duper cool. All right, now think about that. The need. Next week we will talk about the public persona. So let's skip to the text. I put the scene up on my website, www.marishkasphillips.com/the preparatory, Orville will put that on the bottom of the screen eventually before I end it. And if you don't have the scene, please go and get it, because that's what we'll be working off of. This is from a film that I've written, and we've already shot the short film, but I just wanted to work the scene and, you know, see what happens. So I wanted to talk to you about the scene objective. What is a scene objective? It's the goal of the character. What is the character trying to achieve? What do you want from the other character is another way to derive what that super objective is. What's the mission of the character in this scene? What's the desire? What does this character want? How do you make or decide on a super objective? You want to go to the last thing the character says or the last thing the character does. Okay? Now, I've done my homework. Have you done yours? So Jason, he's not saying nice things, but his last line is, Melinda, you need help. Let's get through tonight, and we'll deal with your, I don't know if kids are watching, effed up emotional state tomorrow. Now, if you read the circumstances, you know, they're well dressed, and you discover in the text that they're going to their anniversary party, which is their 10th year anniversary party, by the way. That's a tidbit that you can, you know, add. I don't know, you know, before we keep going there, find your personalization. A personalization is to whom you're speaking. So you want to make sure that for Jason, the Melinda that you're speaking to, you want to find someone in your life that you can equate that to. Who is your Melinda? And Melinda, who is your Jason? So that the relationship is clear. Because if you're not clear to whom you're speaking, then even when you're on camera and you're reading with a reader, it comes off very vague. And we want to get into the relationship. You know, the casting director, the director, they want to see that you bring in the stuff. So whatever the stuff means for you, part of it is the personalization. Okay? So I just wanted to throw that out there. Find your personalization. For Melinda, your Jason, clearly as someone you really, really love, that you would marry, or maybe it's an ex that you had this kind of tension in the relationship. Jason, your Melinda has to be someone you know you loved enough to marry, but you found something that didn't quite like keep you in the marriage or keep you 100 with her. So that's your choice. That's the actor's choice. And you have to keep the stakes high. Don't make an easy choice. Don't play it safe. Take a risk with who it is. The person won't know. I won't tell. You know, I won't tell who you're talking about. Okay. Okay, now, back to the super objective. What are you trying to achieve? Now, I'll just tell you what, you don't have to do or work on how I'm working on it. I'm peculiar. I make up interesting choices because, that's part of my fun of doing. Now, the super objective is always to something, to do something. So the next word after to is the active ingredient. That's the active energy. Now, for Melinda, what I said was to lift up the truth. I said that for me because she's clearly having some suspicions with Jason. You know, his phone is ringing. He doesn't answer it. They're getting ready. And she's like, you know, it could be important. And he's like, you know, he throws her off. He deflects. What could be more important than our anniversary, you know? So that sparks a little something, you know? So she just wants the truth. Why do I feel like you're hiding something? you know? How can you know what pleases me when we don't even talk anymore? You've been so distant lately. So I wrote, she's to lift up the truth. That's what I put, because the energy that it would, because it feels so heavy for me on Melinda's behalf. The effort that it would take to lift him or lift up the situation is great. So you want to embody that energy. You want to internalize that energy so that the intention is clear, that you're trying to lift something really, really heavy. So that's an internalized energy. That's the active ingredient that I chose for Melinda. Okay, and for Jason, I wrote to survive this dreadful night. Already there's a conflict. It's like the law of physics with the click-clacks, you know, or the, you know, the balls that hit one side and then it swings out and hits the other side. It's just like the friction between them two. It's palpable just on the page without even doing any work. The energy is tense and intense. So I wrote for Jason's super objective or scene objective or goal is to survive this dreadful night. Okay? You could take it from there. You could derive your own energy for sure. The scene that when it was done by LaChance and Greg, man, they worked it. And maybe after we finish doing all the tools, I will post the scene, and so that you can see how it actually turned out. I think I like that. No, I think I love it. I love it. So that's what I'm going to do after we break it all down and everything. Okay, now, once you're clear on what the scene objective is, the goal, the mission, the desire, you want to be clear on the conflict. The conflict causes drama. The conflict is an unspoken truth, right? And the conflict is the energy that works against the objective. Okay, it's force that works against the objective. Now, for Melinda, another thing, the conflict can be internal, circumstantial, or relational. You know, you want to get clear on which kind of conflict it is. Internal conflict, things like shame, guilt, insecurities, any of the fears, rage, things like that. Even shy could be an internal conflict. Circumstantial conflict are things that are out of your control. Environmental noise, weather conditions out of your control. Sound, you know, I said noise, but things like that. Usually environmental things, or things that just are, like work, you know. Work can be a conflict. You have to go and you really don't want to. That's conflict in itself, right? And the other conflict is relational, between you and the other character or characters. So just be clear on what kind of conflict it is. All right, so for Melinda, I made the conflict her pain, her heartbreak, this internal heartbreak that's going on with her, not being able to connect with her husband. And they're in the 10 year, they're into their 10 years, and they have 2 kids, you know. So I made the pain and the heartbreak her internal conflict. It could also be suspicion. Her suspicion can be a conflict. That makes sense too, to lift up the truth, but there's suspicion because of the way, because of the relational conflict of the way he's acting and treating and pushing her off and being, you know, distant from her, guarded. For Jason, to survive this dreadful night, I said the conflict is his secret or secrets. And the secret could be presenting a little bit of guilt within him. I mean, he's human. He's not, you know, he's a narcissist in my sight, in my development of him. But he's still human, and I believe even though he has secrets, that there is a little bit guilt because he did make 2 children with her, and they are on their way to their anniversary party, and Melinda clearly loves him. So even though it's not spoken, that can add to his internal conflict. Okay, so you have a lot to think about. If you have any questions about anything that I've given to you today, which was quite a bit, I hope you guys are able to digest it and do the homework. Again, the character bio, the need, do your affirmations, start your morning pages. Look, like I said, look at page 36, 37. Find your scene objective and your scene conflict. Send me what your contract is. What is your I am? Again, my contract is I am an inspiring, large-hearted acting coach, director, and actor. There are a couple of other adjectives like empathetic and spiritual. I can keep going, but it's not about me. So yeah, let me hear your contract and your why acting. Next week we're going to talk about the public persona, and we're going to talk about beats, the dramatic beats. I've done my dramatic beats, and I want to share them with you. I don't want to overload a session. So that's it. I want to thank you for joining me here on the Marishka Method. I hope something I've shared with you, you're able to take forward and apply to the work that you're doing right now. I'm always available for private coaching sessions. You can inbox me and we could talk about what that looks like. You can go to my website. Again, it's www.marishkasphillips.com, and contact me there via email on the contact page and see when my classes are coming up. Hopefully, I'm teaching at the Jamaica Art Center. Hopefully they'll keep it open. If not, maybe I'll talk to Orville about teaching here. He said, See? Well, he's just got to put it out there. If you need help, ask for it, you know. But we'll see what happens as the week draws near. Everybody, I want you to stay safe, stay vigilant, stay healthy, and God bless you. I want to hear from you. Leave your comments, and I'll see you next week, next Wednesday. God bless you. Peace.